Well, hello everyone. What I'm going to do in this short video is try to explain how you can find a confidence interval. In this particular one, we're going to look at how to find a 95% confidence interval. Typically in statistics, we generate three types of confidence intervals. The most common three are 90%, 95%, and 99%. And essentially the reason we do this is that when you take one sample, you're taking a little snapshot and you're hoping it's a representative sample of the whole population. But we know from experiments that when you take a sample, you could take a second sample and it will be different from the first, and the third one will be different from them. And so we have this idea that there's going to be a lot of variation in our samples. And so it's helpful if we can give an interval of values where we believe the true value for the population proportion is. So in this story, we're interested in the percentage of people who like watching horror movies. To be more specific, the percentage of American students who like watching horror movies. And so they got a sample of 152, and they asked them, do you like it? Watching horror movies, and 89 of them said they did. And from this information, we are going to create a 95% confidence interval. It's going to be an interval of values, and what we're going to be able to say is that the true answer to to the American population of students at least, is somewhere in this interval. And we're going to say that we're 95% confident, because what that's saying is that we believe that 95% of the time this interval is going to contain the real answer. But we can't be 100% sure. Right? So a 95% confidence interval is also, if you look at it in a pessimistic kind of way, is that for a 5% chance that the real answer, the one we're trying to get a kind of grip on, won't even be in that interval. Now, if you do a 99% confidence interval, you're going to be 99% sure that you're going to have the right answer in the interval, but you're still going to be a 1% chance of being out. You can't really be 100% sure. That's not the nature of the beast. So we do the best we can. So we do 90, we do 95, and we do 99. So returning to this story, how do you calculate confidence intervals? Well, they have basically a formula, and here it is. 95% confidence interval is calculated by using the formula p hat plus or minus a magic z-score for a 95% confidence interval, which is called z0.95, multiplied by the standard error of the sample. So we're going to find these three guys and then put them together, and we should be good to go. Let's start with p hat. That is the sample proportion. So that's 89 students out of 152. And let's assume in this question that we wanted everything to be in 3 decimal places. So I'm going to go 89 divided by 152, and that's going to become 0.586 when you round it off. The next guy is this magic z-score, which is used when you're doing a 95%. This is just something that is fixed. You can look it up in textbooks and you'll find that when you want to do a 95%, you use this one. Now, I mentioned that there were two others. If you want to do a 90% confidence interval, then this magic z-score will be 1.645. And when you want to do a 99% I should say, then you end up using 2.58, or in some textbooks 2.575. So we're interested in this fella here. So that's the one we're going to use. Now what's left? Well, to get the standard error of the sample, we have a formula for that, and it's the square root of p hat 1 take away p hat over n. In some textbooks, the 1 minus p hat is called q hat. It's just its name, it's the same thing. So in this question, p hat is 0.586. 1 take away p hat is 1 take away this decimal. So if you take this away from 1, you're left with 0.414. And the whole thing gets divided by the sample size, which is 152. So we go over here and square root the two decimals. Divided by the sample size. And the answer that we come up with is quite interesting rounding off here. The 3 decimal place, 0.040. Right, let's put that package together now. The 95% confidence interval is p hat plus or minus the magic Z score for 95 times the standard error of the sample. The p hat is 0.586. This guy is 1.96. Standard error is 0.040. And we are now looking at, well, once I do it in my calculator at least, this guy. And 1.96 times 0.040 to 3 decimal places at least is 0.078. This guy here, the 0.078, is called the margin of error. Or if you're being more precise, it's the margin of error for a 95% confidence interval. Now, what we're going to do now is this take away that, and that'll give me the lower bound. And this add that, that's going to give me the upper bound. So 0.586, subtract that guy, 0.078, and the answer I'm going to get is 0.508. And then this one added to that one. Ends up being 0.664. And that is your 95% confidence interval. Me personally, I like percentages. So it's about 50.58% to about 66.4%. So what we're saying is that if you asked every student in America the same question about horror movies and did they like it, we're estimating that that answer, that population proportion, is somewhere between 50.8% and 66.4%. So we may not know exactly where it is, but at least I'm 95% sure it's probably in here somewhere. And if you want to take it a little bit further, since every single one of these percentages is at least bigger than 50%, I could say that that's evidence, strong evidence, to show that more than half American students, right, more than half, more than 50%, like watching horror movies. And that's us finished. Hopefully this has been of some use.